Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Dynamics Corner, the podcast where we dive deep into all things Microsoft Dynamics. Whether you're a seasoned expert or just starting your journey into the world of Dynamics 365, this is your place to gain insights, learn new tricks, and hear from industry experts. I'm your co-host, Kris.
And this is Brad. This episode is recorded on April 25th, 2024. Kris, I have a joke for you.
What is that, sir?
You know, I have a lot of good jokes. I won't repeat any of the jokes that you probably heard me say quite a few times over the past couple.
It shouldn't be dry, right?
That's right. We don't do this on Fridays anymore because we've had a few bad joke days. What do you get when you cross payments and education?
Paycation? I don't know. What is it?
You don't know? You get UST. And with us today, we have the opportunity to speak with Jen, Kate, and Wade from UST to learn all about payments and education.
Hello.
Hey.
Good morning.
Wait,
Good
I like
afternoon.
your background. I like your
Do you
background.
like my
Wade.
background? Because I couldn't
I
blur
do.
my background. I couldn't figure out how to blur my background. I think it would be better if I blur it, but
I'm having a whole coughing fit, guys. So sorry.
That's okay. We're
Perfect
allowed to
timing.
have coughing fits.
Perfect timing.
Oh, no.
Just coming in
Well,
hot.
Wade's in the library,
yeah.
so
So
we're trying to be quiet so that he could study.
Right.
Don't tell anybody. Are you okay over there?
No, nope, I'm good.
Allergies?
There's all kinds of
Get it all out.
directions.
Get
Was
it all
wild,
out.
you guys. Directions was wild. We're still recovering.
I think I recovered. What's today? I think I recovered 2 days ago.
What's that like?
What, recovering? Oh. Well, what
I'm not
threw
there.
me was the time difference.
Recovery?
For some
Yeah.
reason, it hit me rather hard. I think I'll blame it on the time difference, but
And staying up till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It's like we came back from Asia. You know, if you think about it, you add the 3 hours on top of the extra 4 hours we stayed out way too late. That's like 7
There
hours.
you go.
So more like Europe. Okay, so like going to Europe and back.
so
Asia
we're
would be like-
rationalizing this that we went to Europe and back, and that's why we're so tired.
I think so. I think
Because
that's
I know myself, I'm in bed by 10 p.m. 2200.
really.
But,
Me too. Me too.
Yes. There's no reason to be up and out past 10 p.m.
Unless you're at
If there is-
direction.
There are certain occasions where it's okay, but for the most part, if you're out after 10 p.m., you're up to no good. That's
Well,
just
you turn into a gremlin.
you turn into something. You turn into something.
Up to no good.
Wade, Kate, Jen, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. But before we go with this, Wade, what's my name?
Let me look at your name tag. It's Brad.
That's too
Yeah, I
funny.
know.
I
That's
had
too
to do
funny.
it.
It was
It
past
might
10
be past
p.m.
10
Yeah, you'll
p.m.
never
now,
let
I
me
know,
live
but,
that down. You,
Oh, I will never. That is Wade. That is stuck with me forever. And just as a side note, the entire time that Kris and I were talking prior to everybody joining, I was calling you Wayne. He had to correct me.
Wayne.
just to get back at me. Just to get back at me.
I said, who's Wayne?
Just to let you know. But that's it. But I would like to thank the three of you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. We've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. We did recently speak with you at Directions, which was a pleasure. We had a lot of fun and were able to talk about a lot of helpful information. And I've also come across and seen a lot of the information that you all present, which is also enlightening. But before we jump into this, I guess now there's three of you. If you would tell us a little bit about yourselves, we could start with Wade.
Oh,
Wayne.
okay. Well,
Wayne.
first of all, I want to say, Brad, you have the you have the perfect like podcast host voice. It's like so
It
calming,
does.
and then this voice modulation is really
It
perfect.
does.
Like when you're about to say something, everybody has to like stop and listen, which I guess you need to have since you have to control. You probably have to exert a lot of control without getting overly excited with people. So
Yeah, with the crazy cast of characters that we have.
Um, well, the quick background on myself: I'm a CPA by background. I have been in the payments space for 20 years, and we've actually been involved in the Microsoft space for 20 years, close to 20 years. But we never really got deeply involved in the channel and the community until about 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, when we put our product on AppSource. We've always had a solution for Navision, but then we decided we need to upgrade the solution. We need to get it onto AppSource, and once we start doing that, we brought on board also one of the most capable Business Central and Nav developers and product software really developers, managers in the country, Adil Noshirwan. He was formerly at Pleasant Valley. You guys know him. And he co-founded that company, and it was later sold to Extivia, but he came on board with us. And so 2.5 years ago, we decided, let's get this on AppSource. Let's make the investment and let's get involved in the channel, because we got a great product to offer the community that's very different from anything else. I've wanted to like always follow this concept of being able to not compete. Like how do you be in the marketplace without competing with everybody? How do you be in like a category of one? And that's kind of the principle or premise behind this payments product that we have on AppSource. So what else can I tell you about myself? That's about it.
We can talk more about the
Okay.
product just in a moment, just as we go through the introduction of the others. But you mentioned something in that conversation, a category of one. That is a difficult category to be in, because I often say that you may be the first one to do something, but there will always be others, because if you do something really well, others will want to mimic. Sometimes somebody by impersonating or copying is the best form of flattery, I guess you could say, because you're doing something really well. So to try to achieve that and be someone that may be in a category of one is a tough feat. Miss Kate, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I wanted to add to that, Brad. You are 100% right. Being in a category of one and staying in that space does present challenges. We have a culture code at UST, which is a set of principles that we try to follow in all of our actions and interactions. And one of those things is to mindset. So we are always striving to be one step ahead of what is going on. So I do think that culture principle helps us, aid us in that mission of being a category of one. I am Kay Coffey. I am marketing for UST and UST Education. I've had a lot of different jobs in marketing. One of my favorite jobs I've ever had was I worked for two brothers that were angel investors, and along with their money, small businesses got me, and I wrote their go-to-market strategies. And in addition to that really amazing job where I met tons of entrepreneurs, we also had a radio show where we talk about everything business from startup to exit strategy. That radio show.
You were on the radio?
I was, yeah. So that radio show started out very much Howard Stern Talks Business. And the guys brought me into the room to be the lady in the room to make it marketable.
So were you Robin?
Robin.
I followed Howard for many years back when
Howard
he was
Stern.
in Boston.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Howard-
when you
Howard
mentioned
Stern
Howard
had
Stern, I
Boston.
didn't know if you
Yeah.
knew the Howard Stern show.
Tame them and make them a little bit more PC because they were not. But that was really fun. And we brought in tons of entrepreneurs every day on the show. It was an hour. And it was just interview. It was such a fun time. That was probably 10 years ago that I did that. So I'm at UST now.
Where's that broadcast?
What?
Where's that broadcast?
It was on.
He's gonna go find it. He's gonna go find some recordings. What's gonna happen? Brad's on a mission. He's already like.
I'm not saying this in any environment that's going to be recorded.
I just wanted to let you know, you already let the cat half out of the bag, and it is 2024.
Go digging.
The internet and that. I can just probably say, hey, co-pilot, tell me about Kate and her radio show.
I think Kris is already on it.
Chris is usually the one who's.
He's on it. I can see his face. He's on it.
You know, as I had mentioned before, Kris got his nickname, Kris GPT, from the interaction. So we do have this thing here, whereas I can talk, and as Wade had mentioned, we can help drive the conversation. Kris is the king of search. So probably by the time, like, we have this queue, I'm watching him. Once he has the information, I'll stop talking.
Yeah.
But he'll pull that up for us. But you continue, please.
So now I'm marketing for UST and UST Education, and get to work with Wade and Jen every day to make magic happen. That's a little bit about me.
Excellent. Jen, how about yourself?
Let's see, how far back are we gonna go? Okay.
How long you got?
We have as much time as you need, and as Jen's talking, I'm going to pay attention to her background.
Yeah, mine
and take a look and pay attention to
my background. Oh yeah, so I had to move rooms from the last time we spoke, gentlemen, because I have a deck that's being built on the back of the house, and so it's very, very loud in my house right now. So I am tucked away in a small.
Hoping to hear a piano. We talked about this. I was hoping to hear a piano recital.
Yeah, I'm in my master bedroom right now, and this tucked into the small little corner, hiding from all the contractors. So there's no piano back here. So I do apologize if you do hear some construction going on. There's no way to get around it. But I have a interesting background, I guess. I've not always been in payments. I don't think anybody at my age grew up and said, through high school, like when somebody says, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nobody says, oh, I want to be in payments, right? That's not like, it was never a thing back then. We all kind of fell into it somehow. Prior to that, I was a classical pianist, and I still am a classical pianist, but I taught piano for over 20 something years. And that was my first degree, was piano performance. And then I always knew I would do a career change because I only did that for, like while my kids were growing up. And so once they got to a certain age, I knew I was going to switch. And Wade somehow found me via our ex-bass player of our band, who works, actually, I played in a lot of rock bands as well. He found us via this man who was like one of our best friends and also our bass player, who happened to work at the processor that Wade had a partnership agreement with, and I started working for Wade. So Wade taught me most of everything that I know. However, my family's been in payments for over 20 something years. So I did have a lot of background in payments, just not directly. I had indirect background. So I did that starting, Wade, what was that? Late 2016, I believe. A while now. And then, went to a couple other payments companies and did a few other things, came back to Wade because UST is amazing. And it's one of those places you just come back to. If you do leave, you will come back. Like Hotel California, you're going to be back. But it's better than Hotel California, But it's good. It's good. I've enjoyed it. The second time I came back at UST, it was in a COO role, which is, helping to organize the UST Education platform and really get things moving with different verticals that we're serving and servicing. And then brought on Kate, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since, and happy to be here. Thanks.
We'll jump into more about UST, the payment services and the education and the other services that you provide. But I have a couple comments. One, I think you have to say, you watch American Horror Story?
I'm a little scared to watch it, but
okay, it's not that bad, but there is a season called Hotel. So maybe if you're going to equate it to Hotel California, you can equate it to the American Horror Story Hotel, where you never leave, basically.
Yeah.
And then the other point, payments. You mentioned someone your age getting into payments. I remember when I was a young person at one point, I did work in a store, and with payments, It's when you had to swipe that little machine.
The knuckle busters.
And with the carbon
Yeah.
For the copying. I think a lot of individuals now don't know what carbon paper is. But then you also had to look up the card in the book to make sure it wasn't stolen.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how technology has changed and how we have progressed to where we are today, which is where we can jump into, I think, to start off. You mentioned the company's UST. You have the UST for payments processing or payments, and then you also have the UST Education. So with UST Payments within Business Central, it's you had mentioned you put your app in the app source. But do you have a brief overview of how payments or UST Payments integrates and what services you have with that UST Payments application for Business Central?
I can see Wade.
Yeah.
Wade is like he's wanting to answer this.
Okay. Well,
this right here is we will just throw the questions out and it will be
he was like
controlled.
This one, guys.
Kris, did you find that radio show, by the way?
I have
I'm gonna
not.
text you and give you some.
Some things do not
I'm
need
paying
to be dug
attention
up.
at the moment. Maybe after.
I'll answer that question because I told you I was a CPA by background, but I started U.S. Transactions Corp UST because I had to prove to people that I could do sales. Because nobody thought an accountant can do sales or could sell it, you know. So UST Pay on AppSource. So what makes it unique and why I say we're a category of one, why we don't compete is it's the only solution on AppSource that connects to 120 different payment gateways and processors. So basically, for credit card processing within the Business Central platform, you know, the user can choose whatever processor or payment gateway they want to use. Whether it's like I'll just throw out some names: Authorize.net, PayTrace, Card Connect, Stripe, CyberSource. I mean, there's a list of over 100. And what it means is, so versus having like a monoline solution where you have to use just this one solution and you can only use us as the processor, or like, no, you can use whatever you want. You know, it's like you have the freedom to choose whatever you want. And like that's the way it should be. And that's why I say that we don't compete, because it should be that way for a customer to choose whatever they want to be able to use and have the convenience to decide what product or service or partner that they want to be able to use. And we just facilitate that is possible for the Business Central user when it comes to credit card processing solutions.
So from the Business Central application, UST's payment application, is there a specific name for it? If someone were to look for it in AppSource, how would they find it? Would they find it by UST, or do you have another name that they could
Yeah, so it would be under UST Pay.
Okay. So UST Pay, I mean, payments has always been a challenge, I think, for many people when it comes to ERP software and ERP applications. There's a number of challenges with that as we can get into. But positioning UST Pay within Business Central, is it for payment processing from the receivables point of view, as far as your customers, and you can use the credit cards for them to pay down the receivables? And or can you also do it on the vendor side if you wanted to have vendor payments as well, to send out vendor payments through payment processing?
Yeah, good question. So it's on the accounts receivable side, not on the payable side. So it's on customer collections, and it also can accommodate like ACH payments. So if a customer wants to pay by ACH, and our solution would also work in the context of e-commerce as well. So
okay, so there's the option to use ACH, which is great. It's more than just a credit card processing. I'm assuming debit, credit, ACH. Can you do wire as well, as far as the payment processing is concerned?
No, the wire capability is not within that solution set. Maybe in the future, but it hasn't really come up. I would say it's really been more ACH and credit card.
well, there's a lot of
Credit
fees
card.
and wires
Exactly.
anyway. So
Exactly.
I know there are other challenges. I'm just trying to frame the scope of the payment processing solution within Business Central. And with the payment processing, you had mentioned e-commerce, which is another challenge I think that many individuals have. Do you work with specific e-commerce platforms, or is there a plugin or another API endpoint that someone who has an e-commerce solution can integrate with along with Business Central to have the full cycle for payment processing through their e-commerce site?
Yeah. So right now we don't have a direct integration into any specific e-commerce platform, but all of the popular e-commerce platforms out there, whether it's like a Magento or a WooCommerce or a Commerce Build, they also actually, in the case of Commerce Build, we are on the verge of having a direct integration in there. But
And nobody knows that yet, so this is the first that anybody's hearing of it.
See, wait.
like,
I fell asleep at the wheel. Wait.
Nice job.
Listen, anytime that there's a first that comes out, we have to do the whole bit, excitement and cheer.
The clap. You
But
gotta do
with it
clap.
being the first, Wade, you could have said, and for the first time, we're going to announce we will have an integration with
That was
Commerce
good.
Build.
Beautiful.
We're working on the second one as well, which we are not ready to share yet.
Wait,
We'll come out with
you're
that
not ready
maybe.
to share?
Yes.
Another e-commerce.
You don't want to share?
It's still
I'm
in the
counting on that
works.
contract. So
I would assume.
I'm just putting it out
Okay,
there. I'm
no,
counting on the
it's-
contract.
I have to play with the soundboard occasionally. Sometimes I do it too much because I forget about it.
Yeah.
Because we've had many episodes where we've spoken and there was perfect opportunity to use it and I've forgotten to click the button.
Oh,
So
By the way, great people at Commerce Build. We actually had one of their
they're amazing.
team member as a
They're
guest
really good
on
people.
this podcast in the past. Yeah.
it is a great group of people to work with. Okay, I'm sorry, Wade, to throw you off.
No, that's okay. Well, we're pretty much done. On other like common platforms like WooCommerce or Magento I was mentioning, they already have built-in integrations to a multitude of payment gateways like a PayTrace or a Card Connect, CyberSource or BluePay. We have a connection through Business Central to all of those gateways as well. So indirectly, we are able to serve, those clients that are using those e-commerce platforms and already tied in with a specific gateway there. We're able to tie them into the same gateway on the Business Central side.
So that's great. So they can have one central location to go through for
Right.
the processing. Is with the UST and Business Central, as I'd mentioned, that sometimes it's challenging to have payment processing. What are some of the challenges that you've encountered with some businesses that they have had with payment processing through ERP software?
Some examples include like how to handle prepayments, how to handle voids. So, for example, a transaction that if they find out they process a transaction, but they need to correct it or they need to reverse it right away. A lot of times they have to just refund the transaction. With our process, you can within the same day you can void the transaction, and that way it'll never hit the customer's credit card at all. So that makes it a lot better for the customer, more customer friendly. What are some of the other ones like?
Just general customizations. A lot of people can't do
Yeah.
it. We've had clients who went to a competitor, came back to us, went to the competitor again, and then finally came back to us, just because it was like we thought they could do the customization, but they can't. I think having Adil on our team is a huge, huge plus for us, because he was basically like around in Business Central before it was even, there. Like he knows it inside and out. So I think that helps us a lot as far as being able to customize for certain clients that other people can't.
So it's easy to adapt.
Yeah.
The Business Central implementation through the payment processing with this.
And we're small, right? And small usually equates to nimble, right? So we don't have a lot of red tape that we have to get through. We don't have a lot of
to fit the solution to meet the requirement exactly of what the end customer wants. So unlike other like payment solutions, we focus only on the Microsoft ERP space. So we're not in like multiple ERP spaces like Sage or NetSuite or SAP or whatever. We're just focused on Microsoft. So what that means is we're able to make the small tweaks or customizations and do it in a short period of time that others are not willing to do, just because if you're serving like 5 or 6 different ERP platforms, how are you gonna manage to do customizations, even minor customizations, very quickly across all of those platforms? It's just impossible to do. So
I think that's certainly a good mindset when you're getting feedback from your customers and having that startup mindset, right? Like where you can make adjustments in there. Your focus being in Business Central allows you to quickly make changes, not having to worry about other ERP solution. So I think that's a great approach. I think you guys have always been open to getting feedback from many. And so I think that's what's exciting about it. Because I remember in the early days of NAV, there were very limited payment solution options. It's usually someone pretty big. But with Business Central, I think it allows everybody to be able to have more options. And especially UST coming into the Business Central space with having apps on the app source, it's easily accessible. So that's exciting.
Thank you, Kris.
I'm hearing strange noises here. I was looking around.
Oh no, is it the construction?
No, it's not you. I don't know if it's me or you or the alien.
Is it music?
Like aliens are coming to
Do you hear music?
It's
no.
No, I think it's just Brad on his side.
I was ready to dive into a conversation about aliens, but
Oh God.
We won't jump into aliens. I think we'll go back. You talk with others leaving and coming back. I'm thinking it's another episode of American Horror Story Hotel. You had mentioned a couple of points with the payment processing. One of the points was prepayments, voids. Another situation that I come across is what I would call the subscription type billing, where you may need to, charge a customer's credit card repetitively. Is that functionality available with the UST solution for Business Central? And then with that, I don't know, it's kind of coupled with that question, but it's also separate from the question, because when talking with prospects or customers of Business Central, one of the topics that come up is the security. A lot of people understand compliance. They understand the risks associated with credit cards. So the ability for subscription payments or payment plans or programs, whatever you like to talk about, as well as being able to, how is the credit card stored? What's the security around the information stored with the credit cards?
Okay. So I'll start with the second one as far as the security. So the way we've designed it is that the full credit card data never touches Business Central. So what that means is that the client
or NAV,
even
in NAV.
Yeah, good point. Or NAV. So the full credit card data will never touch the Business Central or NAV environment. What that means is that the client stays out of the full scope of PCI compliance, which is really important, because you don't want to you want to, as much as possible, not be handling the full credit card data, and you certainly don't want to have the full credit card data come across your ERP platform. So we accomplish that by using iframes or hosted payment pages to collect the credit card data directly. So when it's being input, either through the back office or by the customer directly, it's being entered directly through our hosted gateway, which is PCI compliant, and our middleware also stores the credit card data in a card vault under the PCI compliance rules and has to go through all of the annual audits and everything. Once the card is vaulted and stored, then we send a token back to Business Central or NAV to store as a replacement for the actual credit card number. So a token is non-sensitive data. If it's ever stolen or hacked, nobody can do anything with it. So that's the main security feature there. As far as, I don't know, Jen, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that that's a very good point because, from what we saw and what we have seen, there are a lot of clients who are letting that PII, which is, the personal data, customers' personal data, touch their environment, their NAV environment. Like today, as we speak, this is happening. And I think only because it's just a split second that it's okay, right? But all it takes is that one split second. I mean, fraudsters are, they have programs built, right? Who can get in there in that split second. Like, it's not hard. And so if that's even happening
it's not hard to become a fraudster. We should talk after.
It's easy to be a fraudster. It's rampant, right? So you don't want that data touching your servers, your environment ever, not even for a split second. And so we've seen that this is a common problem, and so the way we built the app was that it never hits the customer's environment.
I say that to everybody. The less I know,
yes,
you can't blame me.
Right.
So don't tell me I don't want to know because it wasn't me, like the song says.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know that reference? We're going back to all these references now. Let's see if you guys can pick them up.
Jen will pick them up better than me.
It wasn't me.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down, Brad. Like it.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
it wasn't me. I don't know.
So you just to Jen's point that she'd mentioned. So this works with Business Central. Does it work with Business Central Online and on-prem, or only Business Central Online? Does it? And then also, which versions of NAV? You referenced NAV. Which versions of NAV do you support with this application?
Back to 2018. We can do 2017. Adil doesn't always love doing 2017 and below, but in special cases, I can't believe I'm putting this out. He's going to kill me if he ever sees this episode.
Wait a minute. He doesn't listen?
In special cases, we can do it.
We're canceling this now.
This is the highlight reel.
He's going to. He's going to listen to this one. Because you're going to make
maybe we'll do the highlight
have
reel. That will be the highlight reel. He is going to kill me if he listens. See, that's a perfect attraction for people to listen. See, Kate, this is why you're in marketing, and we're going to have to talk a lot about marketing in a moment.
Kate will have a whole talk with us after this.
Why
did you guys let all this out? My bad.
Oh, wait, no. Is there more that we can let out?
Weird. We're tightening up and flying right.
No.
She's taking notes.
Okay.
She's taking
okay.
notes.
Wade and Jen, would you like me to remove Kate from the conversation? Therefore, we won't have anybody watching over us.
Like, womp, womp.
No, we need Kate. That's how you're going to draw an audience for this.
Right.
Oh.
Which is why I was I wanted to know, because you guys kind of came into the space like blazing, like hard and fast. Like, we're here, UST's here, you're doing all these great things. Like, how did that come together?
I'm going to get emotional.
In a very short period of time. Of course, COVID happened on top of that. So.
Go ahead.
Like, where have you guys been all this time?
We've had our product, for years, as Wade said at the beginning, when we've had it. We just never, we were very focused on another vertical. I'll just say we were very, very focused on a whole other vertical. Prior to Kate, but Kate was the catalyst. There were many months where I kept telling Wade, I'm just going to say it, Wade. Okay, I'm just going to tell all kind of girl. So there were many months prior where I was like,
wait, do you have to get permission from Kate?
No.
Okay.
She trusts me. So where I was like, we've got to have, we got to get out there, and we're going to need some help. I want a singular person whose entire focus is this, right? And we went round and round about it, round and round, and we struggled. I'm not going to lie, we struggled a little bit, of how to do this, how to get the messaging out. And then finally, well, Kate and I have known each other for a long time. So let me preface it by saying that. So in case people don't understand, she was the one I had already slated for the job, like months prior to us actually hiring her. And finally, when Wade gave me the green light, I called her right away. I'm like, let's go. Let's do it.
And we were
We've got a lot
fired
to
out of
build.
a cannon.
We've got a lot to do.
We were fired out of a cannon. We hit the ground running.
Yeah. So when she started, it was go, go, go. And that's how we did it. I think having the right people, the right resources, it's a game changer. When you have people you trust. I didn't want to go through the process of trying out several different employees that I don't know personally. That how that goes. I mean, we all know how that goes. It's hit or miss, and you waste time. You waste valuable time when you know that I'm the kind of person who's like, if I want to do something, I want to do it now. I want to do it yesterday. I'm not good at waiting at all, right? So I knew that she'd be able to hit the ground running, and I knew she was talented, and I knew what she could bring to the table. And I was like, this is exactly what we need. And so, Wade, are you crying? Are you actually crying? So when Wade said, let's do it, get her in, and then we did. And
Kris, make a note, zoom in on that.
I will. I'm going to focus on that post edit.
Just like a stream.
I really.
Yeah, no. Once we had Jen, Kate, and Adil on board, it was like that's it. That's all we needed.
You hit another key point with that. To have a cohesive team that works as a unit is extremely important, because a unit or a team, whatever you put together, it doesn't. This goes beyond payment processing, and I'm dying to. Did I just say that?
Yeah.
I'm eager to also talk about the educational portion of UST as well.
Yeah.
But to have a cohesive team or a unit that can move in unison, and you trust and you have confidence in the person to your left, to your right, and the person behind you, that they're going to do what they need to do to get something done, does allow you
Quickly.
to move forward quicker. Thank you for correcting my grammar.
Just to echo what Jen and Wade have said, I think it was, I mean, we are new in the space. Last year was our first directions.
Kris, edit
Kate's
that out.
muted.
We're going to mute
Kate's
this
not
part.
allowed
Kate won't be speaking, so keep talking.
That didn't take long.
2 years ago, Kate couldn't spell ERP. Now she has now she's selected, multiple times to be a speaker at Directions, Summit.
Last year.
So wait, Directions, Directions was your first.
We're going back to my quicker
UST.
conversation.
Last year. Okay.
It allows you to go more quickly. Thank you, because I realized after I said it, I was hoping nobody else would notice, but it does allow you to move with confidence and quickly, because you don't have to second guess or double check or do things. I mean, it is important to have quality as well. I'm not going to take that away, but to have that confidence in someone that you are alongside with anything that you're working on does allow you to do great things. And it's extremely important to make sure that you have the right people in the right role at the right time.
All right. Did you get a chance to? I know you walked away, Kate, but I am curious of, I think Brad and I have been going to Directions for quite some time, and UST showing up last year and then this year coming in really, really strong. How did that all come together? Obviously you guys are, you guys showed up at Redmond. I saw you guys there, and Seattle, then of course Summit, all that stuff. So I'm curious how that all.
And we are a very small team. It is really just the four of us, so we can pivot. We can make decisions very quickly. We can make connection and relationship very quickly, and I think that is to our benefit. And I do think that there's a book, I think it's E-Myth, that talks about having the right people in the right place. And so I read that book, and sent Jen and Wade pieces and parts of it because I was like, this is our team. All these parts and pieces make up this very cohesive, ideal team. So we went into Community Summit, what, a year and a half ago? Is that right? It's been a year and a half ago. Orlando. And I think it's fair to say that we knew maybe 5 people there. We didn't know anybody. Nobody knew us. We just walked in. I had an iPad of the expo floor. I had done research on every company and every ISV part, anybody that was there that was on expo that I knew I needed to get in front of, I needed to make an impression with, and they needed to remember me and Wade and Jen. We needed to make an impression. We needed to do it quickly.
John,
Sure.
plug John Rivers a little bit. Are we allowed to plug people a little bit on this podcast?
Yeah.
We don't have any rules.
Yep.
Oh, good.
To be honest with you, so you can speak about anything that you are comfortable speaking about.
Yes.
I think finding the right connectors is important, right? John Rivers, Diane Sager, they were instrumental in helping us to know exactly who to target. I think we would have wasted about a year.
Yeah.
Had we not.
We got on a call with them with a spreadsheet and we said, this is who we think we need to meet. What do you think? And we went through and starred and highlighted and went into Community Summit with that goal of meeting, getting in front of these people. And then the same thing at Directions, the same thing at every Doug event we've been to, anywhere we go. In fact, we have a meeting in a week and a half, the 3 of us, where we're going to talk about, we're still doing it. We're still developing strategy of who we need to meet and where we need to be. So we'll do an hour-long strategy meeting where we look at sponsors, sessions, and we will strategically decide which sessions each one of us need to go to. So it didn't just happen. It wasn't just luck of the draw. It was very intentional from beginning to right now. And I will say, I mean, I do get emotional because it is a lot of work and it is a lot of intention, and we travel a lot and we spend a lot of time developing relationship, that I do get emotional after Directions and being there and knowing so many people and making such a big splash so quickly. It's humbling. I'm so grateful for this community, for, just like Jen said, for the connectors. And we want to be that for other people now. We want to be that, the bridge to maybe one ISV that needs to meet another, or whatever the case may be. We want to pay back what we've been given because we were given a lot.
Payments, you
Just like payments, just like UST
it
Payments.
is a great story, and I want to step back. So Wade, you were a CPA by trade, and then you moved into the payment processing space, right? So this is, as Kris had mentioned, and Jen, you had mentioned, you came into the ERP area, and I have to be careful with what I say now, so Kate won't correct me.
Why am I being painted like this?
You came in with rapid growth. It's okay. No, with rapid growth. So it is a testament to hard work and how an ISV can enter the community or enter the channel or enter a space and then have some growth. But to go back to it, Wade, I might have missed, what drove you into payment processing from being a CPA? Rather than just you move just to show someone that you could do it. But what was your interest? What was your draw into getting into payment processing? And then the second portion of that, because one thing I like to do is I like to load up the questions so that we can stay on. Now that you were working on payment processing, what was your first experiment with payment processing? Which channels did you get into first? And then what made you jump into the Business Central of all the ERP applications out there? Like as you had mentioned, you have NetSuite, you have an FNSCM, FNO, whatever it is today or whenever this is released. And you have a lot of other options. What drove you through this journey or down this road or path? Kate, help me out. How do I say that? What took you on this journey
Yeah. Well, thanks for the question. I mean, I'm sure for a lot of people, things happen by accident, and I would say this was a similar situation. As you mentioned, I started my career as a CPA, like Price Waterhouse, Ernst and Young, but then I later went into industry. I went into the medical device field, and I was actually, I was president of 3 different medical devices companies, one after another. They were all small companies. It caused me to move from like Phoenix to Florida, and then eventually to Virginia, where I am right now, the Washington D.C. area. These were all 3 different medical device companies. Every time, well, twice they got sold. Twice companies got sold. Once to a Danish company. It wasn't Navision though. It was a Danish medical device company. Another company got sold to this big company called Alcon. And in the third case, I just got fired because I didn't get along with my boss and he didn't like me, so I just got fired. So, but basically, I was just like moving around, and and at that time, it was just my wife and I, and so we didn't really care. But then our son was born by the third time that I had to leave, and I said I gotta get out of the medical device industry. So so somebody that I knew from my alumni association, so I went to Wharton School of Business, and they have an alumni association here in the DC area. So a gal that I knew there, she said, Wade, why don't you come into the credit card processing business? You can work for my company. It was called Diamond Mine at the time. And I will, and she said, I'll train you up. There's actually there's a big there's a big potential for doing credit card processing for government contractors. So of all things, government contractors, like companies that sell to the federal government. I said, federal government, why federal government? I mean, like they pay for things with Visa and MasterCard. And she's like, yeah, they pay for a lot of things with Visa and MasterCard. And it's like huge dollar amounts, like, $200,000, $500,000, $1 million a transaction on a Visa or MasterCard that there's.
That's one heck of a credit limit.
Yes. So being in the Washington D.C. area, that was the market vertical that we targeted, and so that's how I learned it from her, Catherine Bennett, and and so it was just totally by accident. She said, Wade, I know this has nothing to do with medical devices or anything like that, but you're a CPA, you know a lot of people, you do a lot of networking, and so you'd be able to get into the CFO's office and be able to talk to them about this. So if you target the government contractors, offer them this level 3 processing, which very few people know about at the time. Now it's very widely known. It reduces the credit card fees substantially, and so it would apply to these like government purchasing card transactions. So I said, okay, great, I'll give it a shot. And so and so me as a CPA and never having done sales before, now I'm kind of thrown into like doing sales because I got to go and start marketing payment solutions. And
I feel like there should be a blog, Wade, how the accountant became a salesperson. Like, this is a good story.
And back when I was president of 3 different medical device companies, I knew every time when I would talk to the salesperson and I'd have meetings with them, my sales directors or sales VP, they would look at me like, Wade, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just an accountant. So I said, I'm going to get back at all these guys for thinking that, and I'm going to prove to them I know a lot about sales. So,
and you did prove them wrong, because you have a great product that does a number of great things for a number of users. So you can do it. Just give them a toast.
That's right.
I did.
That's right. Yeah. So I always say.
What drove you into Business Central?
Well, so one of the first partnerships we developed was with the company that Adil co-founded, Pleasant Valley Business Solutions. They built a government contracting extension on NAV, and they sold it to the government contracting space. They competed with the 800-pound gorilla in ERP in the government contracting is called Deltek. So so they competed. They NAV competed with Deltek, and specifically with this extension that Adil had built for government contractors. And so basically networking with Adil's partners in the government contracting space. That's how I got to know Adil. That's how I got to know their company. We started doing having common clients together, and that goes all the way back to really 2005. That's why I say we've really been in the Microsoft space since 2005. We just never really marketed the product.
Just organically was like just easy transition because you're
right.
Started out that way and got into
and
the business.
Adil knew all this stuff because back then Adil had actually written the code for our payment gateway integration in NAV for government contractors that did this really special level 3 processing for credit card transactions. So yeah.
Now I understand the progression. So the application it may be new to Business Central, the company may be new, but the technology and the concept and the processing has been within NAV. You know, it's a seasoned product in the sense, or a seasoned application.
Yes.
Since 2005.
Yep. That is correct.
So what you're saying, success doesn't
Never
happen
give
overnight.
up.
It'll take some
Never
time.
give
But
up,
you guys are doing an amazing thing. So.
But to the outside world, it's like, yeah, you're right. It's like we did this all in 2 years. It's
That's
okay.
our
Let's
story.
keep it that way. Let's just keep it
Exactly.
that way.
That's what it felt like.
No, it's good because
Kris,
it is. It's a great story from a start to finish. 2 years. It's
He added a musician and an artist. Kris, do you like that? And see what happened.
Yeah.
You gotta get the creativity in there.
A great orchestration of the whole thing.
Oh,
Right?
that is.
We plucked Kate out of like the retail business. She was like a store manager
in retail and was absolutely miserable. It was awful. I got stuck.
She got stuck over there.
We saved her. We saved Kate. We took her out of her misery and we put her like where she belongs.
Wayne.
Right?
That's right.
Where she can shine.
I honestly just got sick of not being able to hang out with her on the weekends. So I was like, what can we do about this? No, I'm just kidding.
okay. I had a question and I just left my mind.
Sorry.
So we talked about a payment portion of UST, but now also, as we talked about at the beginning, which is also, I think, another great service and great opportunity for others to participate in, as well as the UST Education portion of it. If you would tell me a little bit about UST Education.
Can I preface it really quick and then I'll let Kate and Wade have the floor?
You can do whatever you'd like.
Okay. So back in, I would say, is it 2009, Wade, when you started Presidential Forum?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I say that your family is a bunch of educators? You come from an educator type of family, right? Like, okay, so this has always been in Wade's like makeup, his actual makeup as a person, to educate and to be an educator himself. I think because he has been around that a lot his whole life growing up. Back in 2009, when we were in our other vertical, which is we're still there, the association nonprofit space. Wade had started this group called Presidential Forum, which is phenomenal. It's once a month, I guess I would say, sometimes a couple times a month. We'd have these meetings in Washington, D.C. with all the C-levels of different associations, nonprofits in the area. And it was a invitation only kind of thing, right? Actual round table, like an actual table with, breakfast served and everything else, where C-levels were able to get together and talk about the different issues that are hitting associations and nonprofits. And they were able to discuss this freely, openly, without recording, without, and it really helped grow the community. And I think UST Education grew out of Wade's passion for education and what value you can bring. Before it became popular marketing to add value, like he was doing it, right? And he was doing it in the community where we were doing business in. And so I think all of it sprung out of that. And so I just wanted to give a little bit of preface, and then you guys take it away.
Thank you for the introduction, Jen.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you for the foundation, Jen.
You're welcome. Can somebody else go with?
No, you take it. You take it. That's
So we have the foundation of UST Education. Can you please share a little bit more about UST Education, what it is, what it does?
Sure. So UST Education, we do, fair to say at this point, over 200 webinars a year. So these are thought leaders and subject matter experts in a multiple of spaces. We are looking at even launching a mentor series next year. That was kind of, it's in the works, but my marketing manager is really, she's younger and really has a heart for providing that to the community. So that's something that we're looking at launching next year as well. These webinars are free to attend. They are live. Once the webinar is over, it is recorded and lives on our media library, so it can be used as a resource for sharing with a team on any particular topic, content. I think for me, it has been a great opportunity for me to start conversations with people, to approach someone and say, hey, I have an opportunity for you to share with the community on some of your ideas, some of the things that you're already sharing. Would you be willing to come and speak on our platform? And so for me, it's been a great opportunity to partner with people in their marketing, explain the importance of webinars and how that can be used in a marketing strategy. Again, all those webinars are free. It's everything from, accounting to building a culture in a company. It isn't always industry specific. Sometimes it is. I would say, Wade, see if you agree with me on this. The majority of our webinars are not industry specific. They are open to anybody that just wants to learn.
Yeah.
You had mentioned the webinars are free for the viewers of the webinars, and they are live, but also available in the library. How does somebody gain access to these webinars? Can you just connect and join? Do you have to create an account?
Registration process. You go to usteducation.org. All of the upcoming webinars are listed there. Click on the one you want to attend, and it takes about 30 seconds to register. After the webinar, I do send out the recording, the link to the recording in case you missed it, so you can use that again. We have people that share that content with decision makers in their company about maybe pivoting. One of the highest viewed webinars in the last 3 months was Dave Weiser's Bank Reconciliation in Business Central, which is very interesting that was one of our highest viewed. I know, I keep telling them, it just keeps creeping up. So plug for my friend Dave Weiser.
You hear that, Kris? The how-tos, the little journey type webinars.
How-tos are super important.
Helpful.
Yeah.
So the webinars, you do over 200 a year, which is quite a few if my math is correct. 200, that's 52 weeks. So you do about 4 per week.
Yeah, varies. I mean, like a week like directions. I think last week we might have done 2 or 3. Some weeks it's more, some weeks it might be 6 or 8. It just, but yeah, on average.
With 4 webinars per week, not all of them being industry specific, content seems to be a challenge. How do you find the content for these webinars? And who presents these webinars?
I made connections last week at Directions, different people that I just in conversation, somebody might say something. I'm like, wow, that's, would you be willing to share your thought leadership on our education platform? I have a list of probably 12 people to contact to see if they would be interested. Myself, I did a session at Directions that I'm actually splitting into 2 one-hour segments because 45 minutes was not enough to cover all the content there. That's also an option. There's content is not going to run dry. There's so many different things to talk about in business and ideas. I would love to do a series on Copilot on UST Education. I wonder where I could get a speaker for that. There doesn't seem to be anybody in the space with any ideas about Copilot. I think that's like the number one phrase I heard last week. But so just different industry conferences that we go to, you know, like Jen said, we still kind of have a leg in on association side. I'm very active on association nonprofit side as well. So I go to lots of meetups and conferences there. So it's just an ongoing, continual meeting of new people, and you know, having an open mind in a conversation, just like Kris and Brad, just like you do, where you're listening to something that somebody says and they say a nugget, and you're like, oh, there's more there. I'm going to ask questions and see if, you know, that might be an opportunity to share thoughts and content.
Yeah.
If somebody was interested in sharing information on this network, how would they go about doing
Kate
that?
at ustranscorp.com.
Oh, so they reach out to you. Okay.
Yeah.
And
let's add to that in case Kate missed, but for the attendees, we give CPE credit and what's also called CA. So that would be like any CPAs, accountants, they need CPE credit.
Right.
CAE credit, so any association executive, they would need continuing association, certified association executive credit. So we we're able to issue those out. So we have the whatever credentials or whatever that we apply for to give out those credits for all of our webinars, for all of our roundtables, and as far as where we also get speakers, I've belonged to the CEO roundtable group called Vistage for many years, and we get a lot of really good speakers on anything from, you know, leadership to hiring to marketing to sales. I mean, to health, any types of topics that are important for like CEOs, executives. And I've recruited many of them to become speakers for the UST Education platform. So it's very, very high quality speakers that we have. And we, you know, one of our principles is the democratization of education, professional education, right, Kate? So we want to make this available when it's convenient for people to attend, not like you have to spend thousands of dollars to come to a conference, you know, in San Antonio or Orlando or whatever. No, you can do it from your own home and it's or office, and it's high quality, and you get your continuing education credits for your professional certifications, and you don't have to pay anything for it. I mean, so that's part of the mission of that UST Education.
So it's free. The whole
Education is
Education.
important. It comes in many forms. I hear a lot of things in my journey, and one that somebody said something to me about something. It's a small subset of this, but it's education's profession that makes all of the professions possible.
Mm.
So there's a vast importance with education. Now, listening about payment services and education, is there I understand the background of the UST Education, but is there a relationship between payment processing and payments and education? Is there some sort of connection that you found in doing this, or do you have them as two separate and distinct journeys and interests that you follow?
Do you want to answer that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I see our education platform as a true give back service to the community. Wade, do you have a better answer for that? I don't really see any kind of connection between the two.
No, well, that's very much. I've always believed that if you're going to serve a particular industry or to be part of, I mean, if you're selling to a certain industry, you have to be part of the community. And so this is a way for us to be part of the community. And I mean, as Jen said, I guess education has been in the background in my family for a long time, with my dad having been an elementary school teacher, middle school teacher in Los Angeles, So I guess I've always grown up around education, but I never had the patience to actually be a teacher. But I just think it's a great way to integrate yourself into the community. Yeah.
There is a lot to be said for
Mhm.
giving back. If you look at the hormones, the key hormones in a human, you have the selfish and the selfless hormones, and you do need to have the selfless hormones because we are meant to be more of a communal type species. So you need to work together and give back to each other, because what I say often is what hurts the hive hurts the bee. So even if there isn't a direct relationship between payment processing and education, just having the opportunity to give back and help others move forward in their journey, or help become, success can be measured, a number of different ways. It's, how do you measure success? It all depends on who it is. And it's the same exact reason why we started doing the podcast.
Right.
Kris and I started doing
Right.
this for no reason. We don't, we just did this because we've been in the industry for a long time. We knew a lot of people, know a lot of people, and just wanted to have an avenue for others to share their stories, share their journey, share their products, or just share whatever information they have to others that may listen. So
it was a perfect timing though, because a lot of GP end users and partners are coming into the BC space, and when BC came around, there's more apps becoming available. So Brad and I are like, hey, there's a lot of new people, and there's a lot of people that we've known throughout years, decade, and just have a conversation and see what we could do to help and give back to the community. So that's really, similar to what you guys are doing with your education, is the importance of hey, I'm in the space. I already have a product in here. You're taking payments. I'm sure someone's going to ask, how did you get to the payment portion? And then it kind of that connection of oh, maybe they want to learn how to do bank reconciliation, because there's some connection around there. So yeah, it's very important to give back to the community, and we love it when more people start doing that. So
I'm sure you found the same thing. But we've learned a lot about business and about leadership from the speakers that we've had. And you also, Brad and Kris, have learned a lot from speakers that you've had on your podcast. So cool.
The main objective, as I mentioned to everyone that we speak with, is to have somebody get something from the conversations we have. That's one of my goals. And even if it's myself, if one person can pick something up from the conversation we have, as you had just mentioned, Wade, then, to me, that's my metric, my KPI, or my success measure. So it's just kind of put some of that stuff in perspective on, the genuineness, Kate, genuineness. Every time I see you, I just want to let you know, I will always ask you for confirmation. Speaking of, at the time of this recording, DynamicsCon Live is going to be in 2 weeks, Kris.
Oh my Lord.
as of this recording,
As of
yes.
the date of this recording, yes. Will you be in attendance?
We are in attendance. The UST team is coming in hot. Yep, we'll be there. We'll be there for the whole week in Denver. I am teaching along with Mary and Sam on marketing across generations. Again, we did that session at Directions. We have new information to bring to the community. So we will be teaching that again at very excited.
I hope to
They
see
had fives. They only had fives on their evaluations when they did it at
That's
Directions.
awesome.
Oh, excellent. Congratulations on that.
I mean, those
definitely
are,
looking forward to seeing you.
Those are two ladies that I respect in the space so much. I mean, I feel like, I'm in that room with these brilliant mind. Was so thankful that they included me in on that conversation. It is, I've identified that as a pain point for so long in people receiving a marketing message so differently. And how in the world can I reach, multiple generations with my marketing message at the same time when I have, I've got to reach entry level, decision makers all with my same message. So I approached Sam about it after I heard her session on marketing to millennials at Community Summit last year. And she invited me to join in with she and Mary. So I'm so thankful.
That was a good session. Are you going to incorporate my question in that?
What was the question?
Oh, man. It's so tough, right?
I threw a wrench.
That was such, and that has opened up the floodgates to so many more, questions. Like, there are so many things that influence what you are, I hate to say identified as, but identified. Like, I have a 23-year-old son that would never in a million years should be called a millennial. He is absolutely a Gen Xer in his work ethic and the way that he works. So, we have to just say, this is high level. These are the things that we've seen, and this is what the research is saying. But there are so many other caveats, like cultural differences, religious differences, and all the different things that make people the way that they are and the way that they make decisions. It's tough. That was such a good question. That one stopped me in my track. You texted me, and I was like, oh.
I know. I felt bad.
No, it was so good.
What about
it was really
good stuff.
Did you guys cover Gen?
What is that?
Kate? Did you guys cover? I didn't get to go to your session, but did you guys cover Gen Z?
No.
Was it like there's Boomer,
Gen X, and
Gen
Millennial?
X,
That's where we
Millennials.
stopped for this. There's so much information, so much data. We just had to kind of hit those three.
Yeah.
And then how the baby boomers changed the world.
Yeah. They did.
They really did.
World.
If you look at some of anyway, it's a whole separate topic right there. But Wade, Kate, Jen, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us this afternoon. Time is the one thing that once it's spent, you can't give back. So we truly value anyone that takes the time out of their schedule to speak with us. We do appreciate that. And if anyone would like to learn more information about UST Payments or UST Education, what is the best way for them to gain further knowledge or information or get help?
So, a lot of form on the website. Is there a better way?
We are always.
Which website should they go to?
You guys, you failed the test. So ustranscorp.com. This is my dog that I got here. ustranscorp.com. So US like United States. Trans short for transactions, and then corp, C-O-R-P, short for corp.com, or usteducation.org.
Or you can email me, Kate, at ustranscorp.com.
Yeah. Or Jenny, Jenni at US Transport, or Wade Tetsuka. You dare to spell it at ustranscorp.com.
Yeah, that one. I don't think I'm seeing the spelling of his name, and I don't know if I could do that one. And what we'll do is we'll post the link to the website as well as to all of your LinkedIn profiles. I know you're all active on there.
LinkedIn's
in
great.
The show notes. But LinkedIn is wonderful. Yes. I don't use social media other than LinkedIn because I think it's helpful. I use Twitter too. Used to use Instagram a lot for my photography, but
I like it.
I'm using it
a lot better. I go through spurts of social media. Like I'll be really heavy on Instagram for like a month, and then I'll do 3 months where I'm completely checked out. Kind of the same.
I think it's like everything else. It's a purpose. It's a tool. It depends on what you do on it. I'm against the time.
In moderation.
Yeah. Everything I use has a specific purpose because time is valuable. But thank you again. I look forward to speaking with all of you in a few weeks.
Yep.
And also in the future to see what other great things you have been
Thanks,
doing.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at mattalino.io. matalino.io. And my Twitter handle is Matalino16. And you can see those links down below in the show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care.